Okay, it's been quite some time since I've done the last YouTube video, and I'm doing this one approximately 2 weeks into me re-exploring Decentraland and the wider metaverse community, but predominantly Decentraland. And this is not going to be a visual recording. This is really just going to be the black background with my website on it, and I'm going to be speaking freestyle. There are kind of a few things I want to talk about, and to be honest, like if you are not into Decentraland, you're probably not gonna like it. It's very Decentraland focused. But if you are into Decentraland, you also might not like it because I'm going to, as usual, speak very openly about my experiences, the good and the bad and the ugly. Why do I do this? Let's just preface it with that because I don't want people to become upset. Some of these things might feel or sting, some of them might feel personal. To be honest, they're not because I don't care that much to make this personal with anyone. Uh, I don't know anyone personally to make it personal. This is really just from someone who cares, who have, from someone who has been in the ecosystem for a long time. Even though for the past 18 months I've been practically absent, and you can blame me for that. I've blamed people for being absent, and some of those people are now in the community pretending they were not absent when I was in their position, and now they're pointing fingers, maybe silently, but I know they do. It doesn't matter. It's a piece that is supposed to be feedback. It's supposed to be an outside view, something that you cannot buy. This is not something you get from a consultant. This is not something you will get from somebody working for you. This is something you get from somebody who is independently looking at it and from somebody who cares. So I hope you can value this. I hope this has value for you. This is a piece to take action on. This is not a piece to take offense. And but I think it's going to be interesting for those people who have been watching Decentraland from the sidelines. And I know there are quite a few. I can see it on my X account. Certain topics do get a lot of interest from people, and I get some feedback from people who are looking back in. Some people are coming back now, maybe partially because I'm also quite active again. Let's have a look at a lot of different areas here. So I'm going to start with an intro. The intro is maybe some of you have watched my X. You have maybe seen that I've played a little bit of a game. I've introduced a Swiss verse lore that kind of uh, created my comeback and built a little bit of story around this. It was probably quite difficult to follow, but only if you don't follow closely, which most of you don't. Uh, Part of it was me announcing that my X account was hacked, and literally 12 hours later, I revealed that it was an AI that hacked my account, and then the story kind of kicks off from there. Unfortunately, very early in that process, the foundation team has taken this message at face value, and from what some people said, they've taken action on it and probably spread it internally through their channels. And some people came out and tried to support me. Now, it was a difficult situation. I didn't want to give up on the lore that I was developing, and at the same time, um, I also felt a bit guilty because they probably genuinely wanted to help me. I don't know if they could. I mean, how could you help someone who got potentially hacked? It's difficult. You pretty much defend your own system and warn the community members rather than help you. So I don't know how they could have possibly helped. I don't think if anyways, I mean, it's probably more kind of a mental support, which, like, yeah, it's helpful, but if you get hacked, it's not going to be very helpful to have mental support. You're busy fixing your stuff. In any case, I don't want to get too much into this. I think it's mostly a system defending the non-hacked members from someone who may or may not have some trust rather than helping you, and I'm pretty much aware of this. So I don't want, uh, let's not make it sound like it's a genuine helpful system to the person getting hacked. It's a self defense mechanism, and it must be there. And I think it's great you have something like this in place. Anyways, some people got disappointed. At least this is how I interpreted it, because they found out that this wasn't real, and now they have initiated that emergency system of theirs, and turns out this is a uh, this is a boy cry wolf situation. And they made sure to let me know that this had a wider impact, and kind of tried to make me feel a little bit guilty, which I deserve, but I've taken this into account. And people were upset with me before. It was my initiation of the lore, and it needed to have a little bit of an impact, and I think that was the price to pay. But some people, they continue to ignore me from then on, and they pretend like I don't exist. They don't like support any of my stuff. But again, like, many people don't, because maybe they just find my content crap, and I don't blame them, because maybe it is. It's uh, Everybody's entitled to their taste and opinion and communication style, and I can certainly attest to this. I don't like all of you guys' communication style, and some of you I don't follow and unfollow, and that's fair. You don't have to like it, but I can clearly see the difference before that incident and then to after that incident, and at least from one person, and that's okay. But I'm just reporting to you a little bit how things developed at the beginning when I rejoined the ecosystem a little bit with a splash. At least I was hoping to produce one. So this is my general taste getting into the whole ecosystem at that moment, and I'm describing this so you understand the foundation, how all of this started to develop. Maybe, I'm not going to discuss it. Yes, I had to pay a price. I did it. Was it worth it? I don't know. So I've obviously, we all know AI has tremendously changed the way we work on the web today. And I was always curious to see, okay, now that we have AI, how did that change the relationship with the SDK 7 and the building in Decentraland story? I've been always trying to build in Decentraland since 2020. And yeah, I was always very outspoken on how difficult it was. Even if you're passionate and curious, even if you're technical to a certain degree, it was never easy. But now with AI, have we finally bridged that gap? That was the question I wanted to answer for myself. So immediately, while running this lore on the site, I jumped into seeing, like, how can we hook all of this up now, and does it actually work? And while I was doing that, I explored all of the topics that were interesting to builders in Decentraland, such as, hey, what's going on with creating emotes? What's going on with wearables? And what about smart wearables? Those were impossible to create before. And maybe now with AI, we can actually do it. And actually, we can. I immediately was able to start building on a idea that I had in mind for a while. And I started building out the idea, and had together something very early, and I started publishing some of the bits and pieces around that idea while also running that lore on the side. And I thought, it will be fun to post some of the process, so people who are maybe now watching from the sidelines, or who followed me but left DCL after me or before me, they can kind of watch what's possible now. And I thought, instead of making one post, why not make a whole series kind of building up to it? And I started to post some content. I was aware that maybe I shouldn't post all my secret sauce that I was developing in the process. But then also, if you don't show anything at all, if you guard everything, then it's also not very interesting to watch, because the idea is that people get inspired, that people maybe come back and try building as well. Little did I know that a couple of days in, after I started publishing, someone has taken notice in when I submitted my smart wearable idea to Decentraland Discord, as I had some issues with some of the free emotes I was including in the smart wearable. They wouldn't play in world. Like they would play in the preview, but they wouldn't play in production. And there was just, a weird web of issues that I couldn't resolve without the foundation team. So the devs looked at it, they figured it out, and allowed me then to go into the review process, which I did. Eventually, I got reviewed. I published it. I went to the marketplace. I announced the arrival of the wearable. I already built in the smart wearable into my lore, into the story where AI has kidnapped me and they're forcing me to put out this wearable into the world because this is how they are going to take over Decentraland, using me as an entry gate. As I'm building in DCL and I have a small community on X, maybe they can use me as an entry door. And this is what they're trying to do. And I'm showing this process, this whole story on X while we're doing it. And I'm trying to make it a bit more engaging and fun, and also creating content that's going out with the respective hashtags on X and on Instagram. So I'm doing work here. You have to understand. And little did I know, somebody picked up the concept from Discord, quickly built the same exact functionality, literally with import export functionality. Just every single thing I've had, they built, and they add some stuff on top of it. And they managed to do this faster than I managed to get my Discord issue resolved, because I was including free stuff into it, which they did not. So, long story short, what happened is that they come onto the market, everybody is buying their wearable. I am still sitting in the Discord. My wearable is now published, but it's still not working, or it's not working again. So I have to go back into the Discord asking to check. I'm still sitting in the Discord now, waiting for somebody to review the wearable so it can go back into circulation. While this person is probably copying the next idea of somebody else. This person got approved by the same process just a few days before me. You can clearly see on X that I've been leading up to this for almost 10 days. I have posts about this all the time. You can clearly see the idea. You can clearly see that I'm in Discord talking about it, showing some support videos. And at the same time, they have never spoken about this idea before, even though they are quite outspoken. And only a week later, after I spoke about it, they're coming out. So for me, the chain of events is quite straightforward. Yes, theoretically, it's possible that two people come up with the exact same idea in the same week, but it's very unlikely. But it's okay. We are in a decentralized ecosystem, and you have to expect that people are going to be people. I'm not upset about it because it's just a small component of what I was trying to build. This was part of the lore. It kind of disrupted my lore, and I had to navigate around the story, and I had to change the whole story arc because of this person, which made the story better. But it's just disagreeable because I was excited about it. I wanted to come in, I wanted to build something, I wanted to come in with a splash. And now I'm sitting here. I have one or two people already uncomfortable with the way I put them on the spot with this whole account hacked story. Now there's this guy who is picking up these bits and pieces of information from Discord, quickly build something almost more advanced than what I've had in mind by adding feature on top of it. And I'm still sitting there, but okay. But I'm feeling like, okay, this is not going as smooth as I was hoping it would. In any case, like I've been around the block, and I'm okay with a lot of it. I can take it. I can turn negatives into positives. So I continued, and I was building on multiple tools. One of the bigger passion for me was creating something that you can build with in Decentraland. And in 2020 and in 2021, I've built a tool where you can construct buildings inside Decentraland using a modular builder. And it was very constrained and very limited in what you could create, but anybody could combine something more or less custom and put this onto the land. Back then, nobody was working with worlds. I think they didn't even exist back then. And but it got some adoption. It got some adoption even during the peak. Some people adopted it, but overall, it was a failure. Nobody put the effort to build anything. Those people who were willing to invest, they hired people to build it for them, completely custom. And a few people got the finished buildings where they just literally just had to upload one file and that's it. But nobody wanted to go in and actually build anything. This group of people didn't really exist. You either had these devs who knew how to work with Blender, or you had these regular people who just bought land for speculation and didn't want to do anything other than just clicking one button. Everybody in between was just tinkerers like me, so they would prefer to build something rather than use a tool. So long story short, now that we have AI hooked up to the system, I was wondering, like, okay, can we pick up on this idea again? And while you're building on something, ideas naturally, you kind of pivot left and right, and you try a lot of different things. And I have like 3 or 4 different tools I'm working on in parallel. One of them was a an emotion, like an emote creation tool, and I've put it on X recently, announcing that you can now come in and for 50 mana you can generate an emote of your choice. It doesn't work always brilliantly, and you have to try a few times until you figure out how to prompt it correctly. I understand it's not easy, but it's $3.50 per attempt. You have 2 re-rolls, so you have a good chance of making something work if you keep it simple, and then you can try to see if you can make it more advanced. But literally until now you had to pay $100 to review your emote, and you had to be a Blender expert to create one. And now you can just come in, you can just prompt make a handstand, it immediately exports it, and you can submit it as your own emote to Decentraland. Like, this wasn't possible before, now it is. You would think that a lot of people would want to come and try. I mean, $3.50 is not even a coffee for most of you. It's been 48 hours. Not a single person has come to try it. And to be honest, I didn't build this as a tool for others. This is something that I'm building my library of emotes for my project that I'm working on. So that's okay. But I did add the extra effort to create a login and to try to create a Web3 login. I haven't done this before. So I haven't done this before successfully, let's say it like this. So I'm curious whether it even works for other people. It works for me. So I was looking for some feedback, and I'm sure I will get some. Some people like the post, but it's 15 people. This is not gonna be a get rich quick project here. This is just something you're adding to your website for people who are passionate. They can come here from time to time, and hopefully it's not going to be too much overhead to keep it alive. But and this is where this video is going to become slightly controversial, and I'm going to speak my mind. And we are now at 20 minutes, so this is not going to be a short video, as I'm going to develop the story a little bit. You would think that if you have someone in the community who is coming in after 18 months, 2 years, after such a long break, and now they're building a tool which is it's fairly powerful, but it doesn't even matter. They speak about it, they populate content on the web, they're inciting people to come back. Now they're making videos, they're active. You don't have that many people in Decentraland doing this, right? You have one guy who is doing something with a podcast and with a community meetup, and they're all like co-founding this thing together somehow. I don't necessarily see through this, but it's a cool platform, and to be honest, it's not easy to create. You cannot just start your own X meetup and expect people to come. Nobody's going to come. I've tried this once. If you start your own space, nobody's going to come. Maybe one person will come and then they'll leave. And then you sit there talking to yourself. So having 10, 12 people come is significant. I mean, I wouldn't call this like an influencer or whatever. I mean, 10, 20 people is great, but this is the only place we have to go to. So if there is something else forming or trying to form, I would be all over this, because this is not something you can buy. This is not something you can pay for. It's difficult to buy this. And when it's naturally reoccurring, like it tried to reoccur multiple times over the past 6 years, you cannot just let it sit and rot there unless you really dislike the person behind it. And yeah, then I'll probably let it sit and rot there. I get that. But if it's not that, then this is just negligence. Negligence or fear or whatever that is. Like maybe people are just busy or unmotivated. I don't know what's happening in the background. I've been working for companies before. Things are complicated, things are political. Some leadership behaves in such a way that it's demotivating. And some employees behave in such a way that it's demotivating as a leader. There's many different things that can happen inside a project, inside the company, and they do every day. And I've been part of them. I know exactly how it works. So you don't need to educate me on that. If maybe there is something related to this, I don't know, whatever it is. When you have grassroots communities starting to pop up, you're not capitalizing on it. I mean, seriously, if Decentraland would be my project and there is some person, I don't want to like call this person anything, but if there is somebody who's building a tool or who's coming up, who is talking, who has been around for 6 years and now he's building a tool and is inviting for people to come, I would give everybody on my team 50 mana and tell you, go log in, create one emote, and then trash him with some feedback. Your shit is not working. I've tried this. This is not working. There is a security gap there. You can go and bash it and have fun with it. Or just post GIFs on how terrible the emotes are. This is all content. This is great content. This is a build-up platform. I hate it that it's a build-up platform, but you have designed it as a build-up platform. And now there is somebody building. Where are you? 50 mana, it's $3.50. Jesus. I mean, when I see this, I have to contain myself. Because on one hand, I understand a lot of the dynamics. On the other hand, maybe the lack of attention is the consequence of how this whole thing is working right now. It's not working right now. It's some parts are working very well, other parts are not working very well, and I don't want to speculate why. And I think it's not only a foundation question. I think it's also a lot of a community question, and there is very little community left that is active. There is community, it's just not active. So does it pay off for me to say any of these things? No. I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying all of these things and putting them out there. Because a lot of people, like, they can see 10 meters ahead. They don't see far into the future. They don't have any kind of visibility on what's happening outside of their little world. And that's fair. Sometimes that's the best approach. But I have to take this sacrifice and say it, because on one hand it's content, and it's honest content that people also long for. A lot of people watching this, they came to Decentraland excited, and now they're all making Roblox content, or they're in crypto, or they're just building their own metaverse. Why are they doing this? I don't understand. Because everyone who came got disappointed. and that's fine. Disappointment is part of this, but it's also, I mean, some people spent multiple years fighting it, and some of them fought for the wrong thing, and some people are here now, they're fighting for stuff. I can see it. When I came, some people came to comment on the things I said, and it completely is like, uh, it's it's nonsense. What they're saying is nonsense put into nice language. They don't understand a lot of stuff, but they're very vocal about it. And this was always a little bit the problem with this whole decentralized organization, that a lot of people who are uh, either self-interested or ignorant, they would have the loudest voice, and they would come in and they would start things and they would push things forward. They would get people behind them because they were just active and outspoken and pretty much the only voice, and maybe even charismatic a lot of the time, but they have no idea how things work, even the basic things. And this has always led the community in, in wrong directions, and it probably continues to do so. I haven't been deep into how things are set up now, but coming back to the story, why am I coming out and making myself maybe potentially unpopular? Because I know some people are not going to appreciate that. They will feel like it's I'm attacking them somehow, which I don't even know who they are, because I don't have anybody specific in mind. It's mostly people as a group, us as a community. For example, I've been actively participating, maybe already 2 years ago now, in these meetups. I try to come up and speak, and shout out to the team over there to let me come up, even though I wasn't always the most easy person to have on, I guess. Although, no, I don't think so. I think I'm fairly easy compared to the other characters who get to speak there. Shout out to everyone there. But there is certain people, they come up and they have nothing to say. Like, they are not contributing anything on the technical side, because it's obvious they don't know what they're doing. They don't have any charisma, because they don't, some of them can't speak English, and that's okay. I think in the Decentraland team, many people don't speak English, but they also don't speak. But people who don't speak English and they force everybody to sit there for 30 minutes listening to a monologue, for example, and you as the influencer, or the provider of the stage, you obviously you can't just come in and cut them off. You want people to participate, and some noise is better than nobody speaking. And I experienced this firsthand when I tried to make an X space. But honestly, anybody in their right mind who is outside of the community is not going to sit there and listen to this shit. If you come there, you have nothing to say, you step down, you listen, wonderful. But to come in there and just force yourself to make this an English speaking exercise for yourself, it's a disrespect towards everybody there who wants to take it serious, at least somehow. I have to take a sip of coffee here. I'm talking a lot of stuff. Anyways, like, to be honest, all of this is not important. This is all community work, and I appreciate it. And there is no other platform to go to. So the fact that they've kept us alive through all this time is really something special, and I will give it to them. But gathering 18 people is not going to be the metaverse. And this takes me to the next point. I today, actually, for the first time, I went to see the I don't know, what is it called, Beyond NFT podcast, or YouTube channel. Yes, I'm on it now. I'm looking at it because I was curious. I tried making a YouTube channel for Decentraland before, and I've gathered about, I actually have to go and check how many subscribers I had. 1,400 subscribers. Beyond NFT has 1,200 something. So my channel is actually a little bit bigger than this one, with 527 videos. You have to imagine 127 videos. Let me see. Like I can't see how many I have, but I have a fraction of this. That means the person who did this channel put so much effort into creating so many videos. There is 1290 subscribers. You know, this is probably the worst ratio you can possibly imagine. And look, I have done the same. I have done the same thing, and I understand it. And sometimes a small community is much more passionate. But I know from those 1290, uh, most are completely dormant and they don't watch these videos. And you can see the video with the founder of the project or one of the founding members has 32 views. 32. Let me go see some of the other ones. Let me look at the live streams. 16 views, 21 views. It never goes beyond 40. 40 is the maximum. This kind of mirrors what I've seen in the most recent, the most controversial DAO votes, has 42 votes when I checked last. So I would say the community, the active community around this node, let's say, is around 40 people. The evidence is obvious. And I've experienced this myself. I mean, you cannot run a channel or to become anyhow relevant in this space with 1,200 subscribers and people like 20 people watching your videos. You have to do this only if you are playing a really long game or if you really just enjoy the process and this is the kind of the side products of that enjoyment. And I've been in that camp. I respect that and I think it's worth doing. I'm just trying to explain this to people who may be very busy doing other things, that just if the foundation team would just go in and click and view the video once, this guy would probably have 80 views. If somebody is building a tool and you would spend 1,000 mana for everybody to go and use it, or at least come onto X and like it or comment on it, you would have double the engagement for that person and for your hashtag. So then you wonder, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I don't know. The thing is, it's always difficult to come in as an outsider for 2 3 weeks and pretend you understand all the dynamics, because many things have been tried and some things worked, some things didn't. Sometimes you had to focus on something specifically. Sometimes there is strategy behind it. Sometimes you have limited resources and you have to do with limited resources. I can appreciate that and I can respect that. Don't take this wrong. But this is one perspective. This is one lens from someone coming in again for like the 15th time, trying to engage with the ecosystem and see how it is now. And this is the first impression. And nobody's going to see this video. Those 40 people, maybe they might come and see this video, and some people are going to comment in an angry way. Some people are going to be passive aggressive in some kind of X space. Some people are going to treat me worse on Discord. I don't know. It might have some kind of impact. Maybe it will have the opposite impact. Maybe I actually speak on behalf of the people who are passionate and don't want to take that risk to bring it up. And sometimes somebody has to bring it up. This time it's me. I mean, I could make this video 5 times as long. I don't think anybody is going to listen through the first 10 minutes or beyond. Maybe 40 people might. And I don't know if we should continue down this path. I'm going to watch the reactions, and based on this, I will decide. Reasonably, I think there's going to be like 7 people who might accidentally watch this. Nobody's going to react to it. People are just going to continue doing whatever they're doing, and this will just go on unnoticed, like a lot of the times, and that's fine. Uh, in any case, how is this going to go forward from here? What have I planned? What I'm working on? I'm still in the process of putting together the builder tool. The builder tool is a very complex project, and I think I'm going to dedicate one separate video just for this, not because I'm going to reveal anymore on what I'm working on exactly, you know already why, but I just want to also do a couple of YouTube videos since my channel hasn't been taken care of for many months now. So I think maybe some people who don't want to listen to me ranting about things may want to look at this separately, but I want to make sure that it stays in focus. There is the builder tool. It's just right now in the stage of how much time am I going to continue dedicating to this? I've gotten the taste of where Decentraland is right now. I'm, to be honest, not very encouraged to invest more energy, but I already sunk some energy into it, so I'll probably going to finish it. Um, I'm still going to put out the smart wearable into the market if it gets finally reviewed, and the plan was to integrate it into a world experience. I've submitted a few requests to improve some base functionality for worlds which have never been properly integrated, and now it's time to do it when someone is actually working on it. Um, and I'm going to try to make this work for me. I'm going to try to treat Decentraland as if it's a virtual platform that I'm going to deploy for my own purposes and not for the sake of creating something in Decentraland. Decentraland for now is a tool for me, a metaverse tool. It could be any other tool. It could be Hyperfi. I have a Hyperfi world. Uh, it has its own issues right now. What is that? And I'm going to treat it as a tool, and I'm going to try to see how I can deploy it as a tool. As soon as I see that there is some kind of feedback, some activity from the Decentraland Foundation, from the community, I'm going to re engage hard. Until then, I'm just going to watch and see the reactions. I'm going to comment here and there. I'm going to stay engaged. I think it's an exciting time now. There is a good chance for this to have a second shot at succeeding. But I also see that there is a massive problem here, and I asked the community whether they want to hear it, and the price was 10 likes. I've gotten two, so nobody wants to hear about it. So I'm not going to talk about it. But I think decentralized is in danger, and you can let me know in the comments if you still want to hear about it. Maybe I'll make a video instead of posting it on X. And that's about it. And then we'll see if you can deploy Decentraland for a business purpose, for a art purpose, because until now we have been using it as a builder kind of tool for the sake of building, not for a particular purpose. Nobody has ever created a real gallery inside Decentraland. Yes, they've tried, but nothing really usable. Nobody has used it as a conference room. Nobody has used it for anything. It's been always like, it's been used for dancing. And this is why the dance bug wearable that I'm creating exists. It's the only use case that's really fun and people are constantly using. It's music, it's dancing, it's a venue, it's a fun time together, and it's emotes. That's why we're all building around it. That's why I've built all of the tools around it, because that's the only use case until now. So the question is, are there other use cases? And I think they are. The question is the technology. Does it work now? And if I cannot teleport inside worlds other than within the same scene, it's useless. If I don't have a map, but I can use the whole map, but I don't have a map to navigate it, it's useless. If I can set up my own server, but there's no way to access it in a reliable way, or publish to it in a reliable, easy to understand way with the most powerful model in the world, then it's useless. And I've brought all of this feedback forward, and hopefully things can be done. Until then, we'll wait. I have more notes here, but I think we are gonna wrap this up. What we are at, I don't know at how many minutes we are at. 40 minutes. I think this should be good enough. I'm curious if you have an opinion on what I have said, and I'm not looking forward to hear like negative opinions or bashing or attacking anybody. So if you are in a negative spirit, don't comment below. But if you want to provide some constructive view from your lens, how you see it right now, do you see improvement? Do you think Decentraland has a feature? Do you like to build using AI with Decentraland doesn't work for you? Do you feel the community is one tiny little group talking to each other all day long, or do you feel we are reaching out beyond Decentraland? To me, it feels like a small little club of one or two or three people with a bunch of people around each, and they kind of turn inside their own kind of ecosystem they have created, and it's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. But the problem is there's only one or two of these that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are more. Actually, there are probably more. They're just not very outspoken and not very great. Or maybe they're just, maybe they stopped putting themselves forward. That's possible. But visually, there is very little going on. And then there is the foundation efforts, which is mostly around in world animation, from what I understand. And I think that's not spoken about enough. I think they're doing a pretty good job actually at what they're doing, but this is foundational work, not in the sense of made by the foundation, but this is the basics you need to have to just, this is part of the product. This is not more than this. This is the product. And they're doing the product thing, but then it's on the community around it to do the satellite work. And there is just not enough going on there. And maybe you have a particular view on this. You can leave that in the comments as well. I'm going to read and I'm going to reply to each worthy comment. But yeah, we'll see if anybody is going to watch this at all in the first place. It's been a long time since we published the video. If there is going to be a bit of a reaction here, if people are going to engage here, I'm going to do more insights on what I'm working on, more insights on the lore that I've been building, and maybe we can do a series of these videos. All right, guys, have a good rest of the day, and don't forget, make the effort, make the comment. I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna reply to it. Goodbye.